Hi YouTube, it's Courtney, or VSG Redesign Me. I'm coming at you with a 14-week update from vertical sleeve gastrectomy surgery. I had my surgery on January 7th, 2015 with Dr. Eric Sommer at Hudson Valley Hospital Center, which is now New York Presbyterian Hospital in Peekskill, New York. My highest weight was 345. I haven't made a video in 2 weeks, and I haven't lost that much weight in 2 weeks, and I'll explain. My last video I came at you, I think it was like 282. And now I am 278.4 or something. I don't know. So that's a total loss so far of 66 point something pounds total, since surgery, minus like 10 from that or something. Sorry if I sound a little weird right now. I'm coming down from a cold that I caught either on my way to San Diego or while I was in San Diego, so whoever gave me that, thank you. Tara and I went to San Diego for WLSFA. If some of you don't know what that is, which if you're watching this video, you came from somewhere else, so I'm guessing you do, but it's for Weight Loss Surgery Foundation of America. They give grants to patients that would otherwise not be able to get weight loss surgery so that they can. And they host a fundraiser every year, and I was lucky enough to be able to afford to go to San Diego this year and spend some time with some really great people. When I left for San Diego, I was actually coming from a gain of 0.5 pounds. I was having some really bad issues. I was backed up, and I was retaining water, and a whole host of things, and stress from my review for school and stuff. I think I was just holding a lot of fat in. So I actually ended up having my first gain of 0.4 pounds, I think it was, which put me back up to 282. And then we left a few days later, and we flew across the country from New York to San Diego, and every time I fly I retain water, and it takes me days. My feet swell up. I get horrible edema in my feet. So I ended up probably gaining some weight in San Diego, which I then lost, and then I probably gained weight on the flight back. But when I came back, I actually was at 281 point something. I weighed myself that night, and I'm down to 278 now, so I think my body's starting to like figure it out. The other issue too is that I was 270, 280 for a really, really long time. So I'm guessing my body's just like, hey, I really like that set point. And it probably was fighting to keep that on. So yeah, about San Diego, let's talk about the flight. Flight was great. It's the second time I've flown this year already. I didn't need a seatbelt extender with JetBlue, but I had never needed a seatbelt extender with JetBlue. I think their seatbelt extenders or their seatbelts happen to just be a little bit longer. So that wasn't a problem. When we flew United, I took a picture of it. I had like 6 or 7 inches of seatbelt after the seatbelt on the United flight, which has never really happened to me before, not in my adult life. But then on the other flights, it was only either like an inch or it barely went around me, so who the fuck knows? The flight was good though. I wasn't uncomfortable. Getting around the airports, I felt a lot more awake and aware. You know, like last year I flew to Phoenix, and that was probably one of the longest flights I had, and it was a direct flight. And that was hell on earth for me, mostly because the air conditioning wasn't working on the flight, and by the end of the flight I wanted to crawl out of the airplane. But this wasn't that bad. It was 4 hours to Denver, and then it was another 2 and something to San Diego, and with the layover and stuff, it was just enough time for us to stretch our legs and then get back on the plane for the second leg. So that was actually it was probably one of the better, longer flights that I've had. So when we got to San Diego, though, it was really late. We didn't get into the hotel. We stayed at the Hyatt, and we didn't actually get in until like, I'm gonna say 10 o'clock. We had to run. We had a rental car issue, and then we had to go and get stuff put provisions for the night. And then Melissa, Melly May, was supposed to stay up to greet me, but I guess she couldn't make it through the night. We were all on East Coast time, so it was really bad. But what ended up happening was I got to meet a few people that night. I met Jennifer Bleacher. Or did I meet Jennifer that night? I don't think I did, actually. I did meet the Waffles, who were amazing the entire weekend. I met Finding Elizabeth, Walter. I met Cher Bear, who I absolutely adore, and a few other people. But I was jet lagged, and then there was a drink in my hand from, Patty and Elizabeth went up to the room and came back, and they had made me a drink, and it was the first time I had had hard liquor since surgery, and everybody's like, oh, you're only 3 months out, and blah, 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 and I was like, whatever. I'm actually not a big drinker, so those who actually met me at WLSFA, not my normal style. I can go months without drinking. It's not something that I do very often. I prefer, if I do drink, to drink good alcohol, and I'm not one of those people that just drinks for the sake of drinking. But whatever the hell Elizabeth made me both nights, it was like cream soda, and no, it tasted like cream soda, but it was like diet ginger ale and vanilla vodka or something. It was really good. And then one other night she made me like orange cream vodka and orange juice, and that was really good too. But that night we hung out by the fire, and we got to talk to Walter for a little bit, and then after that a few of us went up to the 40th floor bar, and I got to spend some really one-on-one time with Elizabeth and Sarah and Chris Waffle, and watch Petty Mel, and a little time with Sherry. And that was really good. So I enjoyed that greatly, and I think Tara did too. It was nice to get that Thursday night in, and kind of create a foundation for the rest of the weekend. The next morning we went down to one of the sessions, and we got to sit in on a Kirk session, which I'm sure everybody's heard about Kirk session and how profound it was. I was not immune to the dry eye, not a dry eye in the room syndrome. It was a very powerful thing, and the one thing that I took away from it was that this surgery is really giving us the chance for freedom, and the freedom of our choice to do what we want and to be an active participant in our lives. And I think that was the most profound thing that came out of the weekend. Friday night ended with the 40s night, and then we all went out to dinner. I went out with a whole big group of people, and I got to spend some time getting to know Seahorse for You, Lori, and I spent some time more with Elizabeth, and Lindsay, and I spent time talking to Jennifer Bleacher, and Gastric Tiger, Scott, and Bridget. It was nice to spend that time with people. I know that a few people went out dancing and stuff, but that's not really my style. In fact, on Saturday night, we had attempted that again, and it didn't go as planned. So, ended up just hanging out with people that night on Saturday, and that was really great. On Saturday afternoon, I attended an evening session with the psychologist Mary Jo Rapini. Or is she just a sex therapist? I don't even know. Tara and I went to that session, and, she talked about a lot of things that really made sense to us. Going through this journey together, it's really hard to differentiate the difference between, what's going on with her and what's going on with me, and how we figure this out as we go along. And there's no book on this, so we kind of just play it by ear, and I think we've been doing a good job, but she gave us a lot of hints and tips to really make the transition a bit more smooth. That was really helpful. The gala and all the events at WSFA, Tara and I did sit on more sessions on Saturday than other people. Not particularly because we felt like we had to or anything, but just because we thought there were a few sessions that we were really interested in. Now, on Friday, a lot of people were complaining that the rooms were too small, but on Saturday, they were actually in the ballrooms, like where we had the gala. So there was plenty of, and where we had lunch, so there was plenty of seating, and there was no issues with that. They were good sessions. I know that WLSFA has a different outlook on things than Obesity Help. Obesity Help is a lot more towards sponsorship of the website, and it's for profit. but WLSFA is completely nonprofit, and what really amazes me out of this is all the time and the effort that people put together to take to put together this program. Every year I put on a conference with my boss, and I'm only a small part of that. I do all like the marketing and agendas and stuff, but knowing what goes into just that part of it and hearing her talk to speakers and the commitment it takes to get something this big off the ground and running, I commend everybody at WLSFA, and I think what they're doing is amazing, and it's commendable that they put all this time and effort and it's their lives' work to make sure that these people are getting surgeries. So that was really, it was nice to truly understand what WLSFA is about, because I know a lot of us go there for the fun and the interaction, but at the end of the day, what we're really there for is to make somebody's life profoundly different in the way that we've been lucky enough to have that opportunity. And that's something that I didn't want to lose sight of, so I did sit in on the sessions and get to talk to other people and meet other people that I maybe wouldn't have if I had just kind of hung with the YouTubers, which is very easy to do because there was always something going on. I want to say that one of my favorite things was actually not WLSFA organized. It was actually something that Chris and Sarah Waffle had put together. It was a tabletop gaming time, and we all played Madness, and while they were videotaping Madness, I was actually over at the other table playing a game called Guillotine. And we played Cards Against Humanity, and then I got to play Pirate Flux, and that was some more time that I got to spend with Sarah, and a little bit more time that I got to spend with Bridget, and getting to know other people, because at that point, Tara and I had felt comfortable enough to kind of stop using each other as a crutch and go our separate ways and kind of build relationships with new people. So while she was over with Jennifer and Tanya and Walter playing Madness, I was actually in another group. After that, the night kind of went downhill from there. There was a lot of drinking and a lot of fun and a lot of feels, and I had a really good time talking and meeting with so many awesome people, and I really appreciate anybody that came and took the time, just because one of the things that they talked about the other night on Fat Kings was that, and what Sherry and Elizabeth had talked about is, give people some grace, because you don't know where they're coming from. And, this was probably one of the biggest social gatherings that I've been to since my surgery that wasn't work-related. And that was right after surgery, so there wasn't a lot of change in myself. But Sherry made a good point to, if you don't have a good experience with somebody on the first go, is to, give them some grace and reach out to them again, or reach out to them when they're alone. And I appreciate everybody that came up to me and told me that they watched my videos and they found some use in those videos. And I may have looked a little startled or not sure what to say, because I wasn't expecting that at all. I really appreciate it, and if there's one thing I set out when I started to do the videos, it's that I wanted to help other people in my situation, my previous situation, and just having those few people really impacted me in a way that I didn't think it would. And, it's one of those things, like, why are these people coming up to me? Like, I don't know you, like, but I realized that, we were kind of doing the same thing to people like Sarah and Chris and other people that, you really haven't reached out to, but you're like, ho, I know everything about your life. And it's kind of a little, it's startling to, like, meet somebody and not know how to react, because you know that they're like, I know you and I watch your videos and thank you, and you do these great Trader Joe's video hauls, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know your name, but it's so nice to meet all these people. So I don't want anybody to think that it was ingenuine. I really truly appreciated, even if it was just a 2-minute conversation with you, that you actually took the time and were brave enough to walk up to me and say hi, because I know how hard that is. So the only complaints that I have, and they're not really complaints, is that there's just so many people that you want to interact with, and there's so many people that you really want to get to know, but there's just not enough time, and there's just so many people. I got to spend some time with Lindsay, Fly Girl, and we talked, and we were connecting, but after the lunch we had on Friday, you know, we really didn't get to connect that much more other than at the gala. You know, and I connected with Sherry, and there were a few other people that I connected with as well that, you know, Kim Gibbs, and her husband, and there were many people there that we did get to meet and talk to, but we would have loved to have spent more time with them. So Tara's not going to either or because she has wedding functions, but I will be at Obesity Help for sure. I'm still on the fence about the East Coast meet and greet. I really want to go, but there's also a concert for my favorite band that night, and since it's a Saturday night, it's easier for me to get there, so I'm not 100% sure on that one, but if I can, I will. It's not that far, but I would also like to say for the record that if you are a New Yorker and I met you at WLSFA, I don't want the next time I see you to be on the West Coast, so please reach out to me. That includes Michelle and Walter, and I know VSG Granny watches me, and you know, anybody else that's on the East Coast that would like to do a small meet and greet. I really don't want to set it up, but if you know, you guys just want to get together, or if you happen to be in New York City, please reach out to me because I'd love to have a drink with you. You know, I'm really happy I went. I'm truly happy that I went. It was an experience that I'll never forget, and it's nice to be around your people for a little while because you don't feel any judgment and you don't feel any pressure to be somebody you're not because one, they've already probably seen some of your videos, but two, you know, they've all been in your shoes and they understand what it's like. But I think one of the most interesting things was how, you know, you're afraid, and Walter talked a bit on Fat Kings the other night about, like, having all these fears and anxieties about things that didn't come to pass. So, you know, he didn't drink, but I did, and it had nothing to do with pressure. I was set on the idea that I was going to drink. But nobody would have pressured me otherwise, and you know, we see all these photos, and for a long time we've been the people on, like, I've always been the person on the other side of the photos, so, you know, I see all these photos and I see these wild times, but in reality, you know, it's just people goofing around and having fun, and it's a really laid-back situation, so even if you don't feel like you're a party person, or that you don't belong in that type of group, give it a try, go to a local meet and greet, organize one, reach out to people. Everybody is super friendly and willing to talk to you and give you the time of day. It's not what you would think. It's a very rewarding experience. Overwhelming, especially if you have social anxiety. I know that Tara was overwhelmed, and I even had moments of being overwhelmed, and I've been in very large organizational group situations like this where you kind of have to go and meet people, but I really, really, truly loved doing everything. So if you made it this far, thank you. I would like to do another PSA and let everybody know that Tara and I will be on The Naked Truth with Jennifer and Lacey, who is another person that I met and I didn't mention because there were so many people. And if I didn't mention you, it wasn't because I didn't enjoy our interactions. Like, Christina, I'm sorry I didn't mention your name, but I loved meeting you. But, you know, what can you do in a 20-minute YouTube video? So, thank you, and check us out this weekend on Sunday on The Naked Truth. I'll put the link below to their site. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so work backwards from there for your time zone. And I appreciate everybody forcing me back to making videos, and Elizabeth, I hope that this is loud enough for you. If not, I feel like I'm yelling right now, but maybe that's because I'm sick, so just let me know if it's not loud enough, and I'll just start screaming my videos to you. Okay, bye.